Yep.
So when we talked offline, you were saying, "Oh, I don't know if there's a lot to discuss." And
No.
while that may be true, it's also problematic. That's part of the problem, is that not enough people know about this. I think what's good is now that there's this movement for like a push for mainstream coverage. There's more of a discussion about it now. I'm referring to the attack on Asian Americans, which we kind of touched on at the
Oh, I
start of
think I did
COVID,
see a
bro.
video where like this old dude got beat up
Yo,
and like
old
murdered or
dudes.
something, right?
Yeah, that was in, I think that was in Cali.
Yeah, I think it was in Southern California.
But it's, this is that's one sample size. It's been happening all over the country. Not all over the country, all over the world. Where there's just this assumption based on rhetoric that's been spewed, that we are to blame for COVID.
Oh, that's still the thing?
I mean, granted, this stuff always happens, right? We're not going to act like that this stuff never happened before. But at the same time, it's spiked since COVID started.
Mm.
So, you know, me, like, I have to speak to it. I of course, and I want to speak to it. Asian Americans, Asian culture, Asian position in society, in particular in the U.S., often goes unnoticed, under the radar, underrepresented for sure, um, and not enough of a strong vocal stance.
Oh,
So
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, there was an incident in New York City. It's crazy, bro. And when people talk about like, oh, he's just a guy, he's just talking, or like when someone talks crazy, you know what I mean? And we don't have to
Yeah.
like name names in particular, but when people talk crazy like that, there are people who co-sign that shit, who will be like, yeah, I feel you, and that adds another voice against what's
Yeah,
right.
I know people. I know people that haven't eaten Chinese food since coronavirus got here because there's this
Yeah,
thing, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, more for me.
Speaking of Chinese food, have you ever had Ed Fu Young?
Have I? Have I? Extra gravy?
I just had it for the first time.
Oh, yo, you don't know what you've been missing, dog. It's a whole vibe, man.
It's
Give me
excellent.
that extra brown sauce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drench that
That
whole
shit is
joint.
amazing. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's like their
See,
version
and
of an omelet.
right, and I alternate between that and the young chow that you put me on. So
Young Chow fried rice?
that thing different.
You know you do. You order both.
Oh, and put the gravy on. Oh, yo, yo,
1000%.
yo, yo. Okay, okay. Make me get
Free
dinner after
gems.
this. You know
I
what I'm
know,
saying?
right? Egg Foo Young on deck. Young Chow.
Gang,
Anyway,
gang.
um yeah, I think it's just important. Like every Asian is kind of like a target in a way. And you know, I can only imagine, like, I'm sure there are people who, like, let's say I'm on the road, and like there's always like there are always those instances of you getting in their way, like, or maybe you guys have a disagreement, like you and someone else, and then
Yeah.
you curse them out. I'm curious how many times people have like cursed me out in their head or in their car, and they're like, "COVID
It's
ass
a
motherfucker,
COVID.
COVID in the face ass."
Yo, you
Like, fuck
stupid.
you. Like, fuck them.
Oh
Like, for
man.
real.
Hey, you know, I'm no stranger to
Hmm.
being targeted.
Of
So I
course.
mean, the vibes that this is crazy. But remember, this happened to the Muslim Americans after 9/11. Like
To this day,
to
let's
this
not
day,
act like they're
still.
not getting it. Yeah,
Um,
it's still
I
happening.
mean, they're still. It's just it's nasty. Like, and that's the one word that I could It's just point. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You know that theory, we've talked about it like I don't even know when, like early on the pod. The theory that like
It might have been one of our flagged episodes.
perhaps perhaps the theory that you have someone of like a certain culture or race, and simply because of that they represent the perspective and they're responsible for all of the actions of other
Yeah.
people of their culture or race.
Well, that's the argument white people make when we talk about slavery.
Okay, expound on that. What do you mean?
So when a black person, points out slavery and the current
Oh,
system of injustice and the systematic oppression that we've been suffering for hundreds of years, the white people's defense is, well, I mean, it wasn't me.
all right. Yeah, let's talk about that because that's true. I do hear them say that, but the ultimate negate or negation, is that a word?
Yeah.
The mirror force, whatever. I mean,
Negate attack
it,
was the card that you were thinking of.
what is it?
Negate attack is the
Negate
card you were
attack.
thinking of.
Same thing. Mirror force
Yeah.
is hard.
Nah, Mirror Force killed everybody though.
Like, chill. Don't like.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah, everyone, you guys all want to attack me.
Yeah,
One card,
you're getting dealt with.
mirror force. Anyway, no. The ultimate negation of that is that it has nothing to do with whether you did it or did not do it.
Right.
It's about righting the wrong as a society.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The fuck?
Right. And not perpetrating the exact thing that, like, you're benefiting from what they did. So you can't say, nah, I'm
Right.
straight. That had nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very same logic that they used to argue against slavery, they then apply that to Asian Americans. Like, all of them bought COVID over here. Like, it's like, excuse me?
There are a lot of elements at play when it comes to generalizations. First of all, generally speaking, generalizations are, you'd ideally want to veer away from it, right? Like every individual is
They're dangerous.
their own. Right.
They're super dangerous.
But it's a double standard world where certain people just don't deserve the privileges that others have been fighting to get. So people have, like,
Yeah,
historically
expound on that, 'cause
speaking,
that sounds wild. Only if like without context, it sounds crazy.
historically speaking, there's like white people, in particular the white man, they've been able to coast
Oh, absolutely.
untouched, and not that they need to be touched, but just the fact that they have such a higher ground as opposed to everyone else. So when there are these like slick comments like on Twitter or IG or whatever, where it's like, painting all white people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Not to say that it's actually true, like, about, because, I'm sure you have a white friend who's like super dope and is like not an ignorant piece of shit.
Right.
But it's not about that. It's more about just the validity of like how it's been historically. That's what it's really speaking to. Those sort of blanket statements about white men in particular.
Yeah.
It can't go the other way around. It can't.
It shouldn't.
It's wrong if it does. You know what I mean? Like, and okay, so back to like Asian Americans. The perspective of Asians in particular. There's no place on the side of privilege. There's no place on the side of underserved, and we want to add to that voice.
Right.
There's like, we've been placed without our fucking consent. I mean, that's how it usually goes, right?
Yeah.
Social
that's
constructs and roles.
historically that's
Yeah.
how they do it.
But like, there's no fucking direction for us and no say so in what we do. So like, we're in this weird gray area. We're like in limbo where no one wants to fuck with us. That's the real perspective.
It's
That's
like
the
you guys are like
honest to God
you
truth.
guys are like biracial children.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. In the sense that what?
Yeah, you're in the way that like no one in society wise, it's like hard to place you guys. And
Right.
I'm saying that even from like terms of like the outside looking in,
Hmm.
it's like, well, I mean, you're not white, right? So we can't put you there. You're not black, so we can't put you there. And even with this like newly recognized, and I say newly because the Latinx community hasn't always gotten its own individual shine
Hmm.
or like spotlight. So even that with like making documents English, Spanish, like Asians, they were always in this gray area of like, what do we do? Like, where
Right.
can we place them on a document? Or like,
Right.
and like, what do
In a diagram.
right? Like, because honestly, if you ask some of them, they're like, they're super uh, loyal to their custom. Like most of them are. Like
Hmm.
a lot of Asians stick to what they like back at home, whatever that is,
Hmm.
right? And they don't, with reason, they don't adapt. They purposely don't adapt. It's not that they can't. It's like, no, like America's supposed to be the place where I could celebrate my culture. So why would I then eradicate it to make people feel better,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so there's no place to. You guys haven't allowed people to box you into just this, right? So that like yourself. So then that made people create boxes for you. So it's like, oh, Asians do this, they do that. This is what we can allow them to do, or even something as simple as the coronavirus, because it's from China, alleged. Like it's just the
Hmm.
dumbest logic. Period. And we need a place to we need something to blame. Oh, why not attack Asians? And the thing is, and the argument could be, oh well, we can't tell which if you're Chinese or Japanese or Korean. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like no one takes the time to, because I see, like I've noticed the difference in friends who are from Korea, who are Filipino. Like you can tell if you pay attention. The people who are out here attacking, they're ignorant. They don't care about that stuff.
Right. So ignorant. Okay. On that realm,
Or assholes.
ignorant does what?
Or assholes.
Ignorant does as ignorant says. So when you have someone in leadership, or when you have media like
He got indicted.
constantly put out a certain narrative,
He he got indicted and acquitted.
I don't know who you're talking about. I'm
Talking
just
about
speaking
45.
about people in
Agent
general.
Orange. Agent Orange is this chip right here. It was a Cheeto.
When you have that, what the fuck do you expect? Like, of
Yeah.
course it's gonna ramp up now. When you have someone who like represents like someone who doesn't give a fuck about other people outside of their own, what do you expect is the end result when you have
Right.
a cult following? This is the result. This adds to it. Yeah, ignorant shit happens all the time. Yeah, there are ignorant people all over the world. But when you have a leader for the ignorant people,
When you have
what?
someone publicly say it's okay, like again, I'm going to speak from the vantage point of being black.
Hmm.
Head of like police chiefs say it's okay to assault black people every day. So what happens? They're assaulted. Like they're hunted. We're hunted like animals,
Hmm.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yo, round them up, get them in prison. We keep it going.
Hmm.
When you have someone who says, "Yo, it's okay, go get them," and you have a group of people who have been dying to go get them,
I mean,
they're gonna go
yo,
get them.
stop and frisk. I mean, that was a thing.
Oh God, and I have been on the other side of that, and it was the dumbest thing. Like stop and frisk sucked. Going to New York was annoying.
Hmm.
I mean, it mostly happened to me in trains, like in subways, because I ain't stay above ground long enough for them to catch me up there. But like going from train to train, they'd stop you. Yeah, they pulled one of my boys back into, like, they want to talk to him. Like, for what? He's got a duffel bag. Right. I had one too, but I wasn't going to say, hey, me too.
We're duffel bag boys.
Right. If I don't do nothing. Oh, wait a minute. We can't say that. We might get flagged. Universal.
You're going to play the song, aren't you? You going to play the song. Yeah. Anyway.
I can't believe we have beef with Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Stop flagging us, Roman.
Why did Roman catch a stray?
Yeah. Listen, man.
Yeah. But anyway, I encourage everyone to check on your Asian friends. I do. Like, for real. Because there really is an added fear that's being imposed on the Asian American communities because of this. Like,
that's wild.
Like, bro. I think about my family and like my friends who are, older, especially, right? Older adults and just people who are like just innocent.
Like guys going to the corner store or something and get killed. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's something like that we have to think about. Now especially, like while we're in the thick of COVID, like the target is on our backs.
Definitely.
Like
definitely.
Crazy. So shout out to all the Asian Americans, man. Shout out to Asian culture. Shout out to, happy Lunar New Year, Year of the Ox. Apparently last year, I think, what was that? Year of the Rat or some shit?
Yeah, because they used to make Tekashi 6ix9ine jokes.
Oh, okay.
But Year of the Ox, I immediately thought Ox Cable. I'm crazy.
Year the Ox? Ooh.
I'm like, Year of the Ox, what?
Year the Ox.
What? Say word.
That's
what
fire.
Play this?
Say less.
Got you.
Just like everyone be safe. That's all.
And you know why I'm wearing black? It's Black History Month.
Okay,
I'm black. My shirt's black. My glasses black. We back.